Hey guys, Jonathan was on here for JM Sports 100, the JM Sports Show. How is it going? I'm here to make NFL picks for Week 4 of the 2014 NFL season. We are already 0-1 on the week. We did go with Washington to beat the Giants. The Giants routed Washington 45 to 14. We are coming off of a 12-4 week last week with the loss that we took on Thursday. We are 27 and 22 on the year, 620 wins, 388 losses, and two ties lifetime. Now, I did make the pick for Thursday on the Facebook page, so check out the JM Sports Show Facebook page and JM's and follow us on Twitter. Links will be in the description. If I don't make a pick for YouTube, it's usually there. Um, and I even posted on my own personal Facebook after the pick, after I had made the pick, that I had said it out loud to myself. And after I said it out loud, I thought that it might have been a mistake. Obviously, it turns out it was. As you guys can tell, I don't have a whole lot of energy right now. I'm tired. I'm gonna try to make this video the best I can. This might not be the best video as far as explaining why I'm going the way I'm going, but I'll see what I can do. First of all, we have Buffalo and Houston. Okay, this is already right out there. We had a lot of good games to pick this week. This is one of them. Buffalo is 2-1. Houston is 2-1. Quite frankly, I don't know that either of these teams are as good as their record shows. Houston really struggled last week against the Giants. Turnovers was their big problem. When you look at Buffalo, EJ Manuel appears to have regressed. EJ Manuel doesn't look as good as he did. Um, and it kind of has a feel to it like the Bills don't have a lot of faith in him, and that could create problems down the road. I don't think it's going to create problems on Sunday, but I think it will create problems down the road. I think Houston is the better team right now. I really do. So I'm going to go with Houston. Packers and Bears. Okay, the Packers right now are not good, but listen, neither are the Bears. You look at the Bears on Monday night and go, well, the Bears won. They're 2-1. Yeah, they're 2-1. Have you watched their defense? Their defense is just bad, and the Packers are having the same issue. I think the biggest problem for the Packers one of the biggest problems for the Packers defensively is they rely too much on Clay Matthews. Um, Meanwhile, you look at the Bears, and the Bears just can't tackle. The Bears offensively, they're good. Bear fans don't want to hear this, but Jay Cutler, most Bear fans don't want to hear this. Jay Cutler is a really good quarterback. As far as the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, and I'm from Wisconsin, so I see every snap of a Packer game every year, and I'm not afraid to say when something is wrong with Aaron Rodgers and or anybody on the team, and something is wrong with Aaron Rodgers. He is incredibly off this year. He won't take blame for it because he doesn't do that. And it's always somebody else's fault. It's never his. But I saw a stat that astounded me. 8% of his incompletions this year for Aaron Rodgers have either been overthrown or underthrown. Rodgers is just off. Maybe, part of it is, shoddy offensive line play. Aaron Rodgers does have to get rid of the ball quicker than he would obviously like, and that does affect it. But Aaron Rodgers is just a little bit off. However, I am going with the Packers, and I'm not being a homer. I'm going with the Packers because I do feel like they are the better team, barely the better team. Um, Plus, this is really a must-win game for the Packers. If the Packers lose this game, they fall to 0-2 in the division, and after their loss to the Lions last week, and that just cannot happen. The Packers usually will come up big in big-time spots, especially in the division. So, I do have the Packers winning that game there. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets. Now, some people are saying that this is a trap game. That this is a trap game if you're going with the Lions. I'm going with the Lions. Okay, I am not completely selling stock on the New York Jets. I think Geno Smith has made a little bit of progression. He didn't play well on Monday night, but compared to what he was last year, I think he has made a little progress. The one thing that's interesting is for the Jets is knowing that Michael Vick is sitting on the bench, and you do have to wonder, with Michael Vick as a backup, is the coaching staff maybe going to be a little more impatient with Geno Smith, and if he does struggle, continues to struggle like he did on Monday night, will they make a change? Meanwhile, for right now, Geno Smith is their guy. Uh, I think this is a low scoring game. Both these teams have pretty good defenses. Um, I do think it's a low scoring game. I do have the Lions squeaking out a win, though. I think it's close. I think the Jets will keep it competitive, but I think the Lions get the win. Next up, we have Tennessee and Indianapolis. You know, it's Andrew Luck. It's the Colts. The Colts defense is just bad. The Colts defense isn't great. Colts offensive line isn't great. Tennessee's not a bad team. I am going to go with the Colts to win this game. Simply put, it's a division game. I'm going to go with the Colts to win this game tight. The Colts Titans have a lot of tight matchups between each other, and I think this is no exception. Next up, we have Miami and Oakland. Oakland's still looking for the first win. Miami is 1-2. I told you guys, I told all you Dolphin fans, the Dolphins lose whenever I pick them. I told you that going into week 2. Well, they're 1-2. Why? The last 2 weeks I have picked them. Guess what? If the trend continues, they're going to be 1-3 because I'm going with Miami again. Sorry, Dolphin fans, you're going to start to hate me here pretty soon. But Oakland is just a mess everywhere. Offensively, defensively, Oakland is a mess. Oakland is has the longer journey here. With this game being in London, so don't forget about that. The game is in London. These London games are usually pretty lopsided, usually pretty ugly historically. I think Miami is kind of the better team. I think Miami's defense wins this game. Plus, Ryan Tannehill needs to step it up. If Ryan Tannehill does not step it up, I could definitely see the Dolphins making a change at quarterback. I am going to go with the Dolphins to win the game, though. I do think Tannehill stands up or steps up, and I also think that Miami's defense is able to get the win for them. Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. Um, Tampa Bay is just a mess. Tampa Bay is a mess everywhere. They have offensive coordinator issues. Their original offensive coordinator is having some health problems. Um, they're still trying to get the Lovie Smith era figured out. They're coming off of that thumping last week at the hands of Atlanta. I don't think that's going to change anything. I think they'll get thumped again. Meanwhile, they are playing Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh has seemed to improve a little bit. They improved last week after what happened in the previous week against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think Pittsburgh is a great team yet. I still think they have a little bit of a ways to go, but Tampa Bay is a mess. And speaking of a ways to go, Tampa Bay's got a long ways to go. I'm going with Pittsburgh to get the win, and I'm making that my lock of the week. We are 2-1 in locks of the week so far this year. Week 1, we went with Philadelphia. Week 2, we went with New Orleans. We lost that one against the Cleveland Browns. Last week we went with the Colts over the Jaguars, and that worked for us this week. Like I said, going with Pittsburgh to beat Tampa Bay. Carolina and Baltimore. This is going to be a good game right here, I think. I'm really looking forward to it. Carolina's frustrated me a little bit this year. I didn't pick them the first 2 weeks. First week they didn't have Cam Newton. Second week they had Cam Newton, but I didn't think he'd be ready. And they were 2-0. And then I picked them last week against Pittsburgh, and they got shellacked. So I don't know. Baltimore is a really good team as well. I think honestly these two teams are actually pretty evenly matched. The big thing, of course, newest Baltimore Ravens Steve Smith playing against his old team. He could probably help them prepare a little bit for Carolina. I think that actually makes a pretty big difference. I am going to go with the Ravens to beat the Panthers. Next up, we have Jacksonville and San Diego, and a lot of you are like, well, why didn't you make this your lock of the week? Well, I probably could have made it my lock of the week. However, remember, I only use teams once. I want San Diego for later in the year because I think San Diego is one of the best teams in the league. Even though they're 2-1, they lost to the Cardinals in Week 1. I still think San Diego is one of the best teams in the league. I think Philip Rivers is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't think he's quite elite, but I think he's probably on that next tier. Um, and it's Jacksonville. I'm very, very interested. The Blake Bortles era has begun. I'm very, very interested to see how Blake Bortles plays. San Diego's defense is no slouch. It's not a great defense to start your career against, or at least your starting career against. I am going with San Diego to get the win. Atlanta and Minnesota, a lot like the Jacksonville thing. It's time for a new era in Minnesota. The Teddy Bridgewater era begins. Atlanta has really seemed to pick things up from where they were last year. They have wins against the Saints, and then, of course, the shellacking of the Bucks last weekend, like we noted earlier. Um, Atlanta is just the better team. That's just it's that simple. The Vikings have a really long way to go with no AP. Obviously, that's a big issue for them. Philadelphia and San Francisco. This game right here is an interesting one. San Francisco cannot afford to fall to 1-3. San Francisco's had a lot of problems in their first 3 games, and if they continue to have the problems, there's going to be trouble in San Francisco. And I truly believe that if they continue to have problems, Jim Harbaugh's seat could actually start to heat up a little bit here, because I think San Francisco management is getting a little frustrated with him, with his outlandish maybe attitude, and just the fact that they haven't actually won the Super Bowl yet, even though they've been close. Meanwhile, Chip Kelly's Philadelphia Eagles team, they need work in the first half. They need work, especially in the first half. Philadelphia coming off of a physical win against Washington last weekend. I can't see San Francisco falling to 1-3 at home, to 1-3 on the year, and losing at home. San Francisco not very happy. They lost in the division last week to a good Arizona team. Uh, like I said, Philadelphia did get the win, albeit a physical one against Washington. I am going to go with the 49ers to beat the Eagles. Let's go to the Sunday night game now. New Orleans and the Dallas Cowboys. This game is going to be a lot closer than people think. Obviously, the Cowboy Bashers are like, ooh, a feast for the Saints. No, it's not a feast for the Saints. It's not a feast for the Cowboys either. The fact of the matter is this: the Saints are good, but they cannot play away from the Superdome. They struggled against the Browns. They struggle. This Cowboys team is 2-1, and even though we're only 3 weeks in, and I'm probably gonna jinx it when I say this, I think this Cowboys team is a little bit better than um, what everybody thought coming into the year. Granted, yes, they beat Tennessee, they beat St. Louis, so it's not like they've beaten really good teams. But Tony Romo seems to be a little more on it. I think this game is tight. I think the Saints squeak one out, and I think this is probably a field goal game. That's why I'm saying that the Saints aren't gonna like destroy the Cowboys. The Saints can play on the road. They don't usually do it well. They usually do it ugly. I think the Saints win ugly in Dallas. And here we come to the Monday night game: New England and Kansas City. I'm concerned about New England in this football game. I am picking the Patriots to win, but I'm concerned with them in this football game. Their offense is a mess right now. They have offensive line issues. They don't have a deep threat. They haven't had a deep threat for quite a while. Gronk is still not in. Not as active as the Patriots would obviously like to have him for obvious reasons, but not as active as the Patriots would like for him to be. Meanwhile, one of the things that's going to help New England here is Kansas City's offense is not much better. Alex Smith has not played well. Kansas City has not, obviously not played well. They are 1-2. I am going with the Patriots here, but I'm honestly going with the Patriots ugly. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a field goal game. I think Kansas City will keep it close and will be able to exploit more of New England's weaknesses that we have seen in the first 3 games this season. I mean, Patriots are 2-1. They lost to the Dolphins division game. They barely beat the Raiders, and they beat on a miserable Viking team that is just not good, as we said. So I am going to go with New England to win, but I think it is ugly. Alright, guys, this video went on a little longer than I thought it was going to. Um, it wasn't very good, and I know that, so there's no need to tell me, like I'm sure some of you probably will. But really, all that matters is you know whether or not we're winning picks and stuff. I'll be better next week because I'll have a better filming time next week, and I won't be so tired. That'll help. That is going to do for me. Don't forget to like the JM Sports Show page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Links will be in the description. I am Jonathan Brissett for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show, and I will see you guys later.